out tonight on a little bit of a rainy evening. The last two sessions, the last two parent sessions we've had in the area of technology seem to have occurred on weather nights that were not the best. So one was, I believe, last Monday night. If you remember last Monday night, it was the night when they said the rain was going to come, it was going to freeze over everything, and we were very pleased to hear that, in fact, that didn't occur, at least for that night. And we had a nice turnout at the middle school. We had over 20 parents come for an iPad demonstration that night. We're following up with kind of a district-wide approach tonight towards our instructional technology program. My name is Bob Fenter. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and Research. Here in the audience tonight, we have teachers, support staff, parents. We have all sorts of people from our community to help us take a look tonight at the area of education that is having a profound influence, has had a profound influence, but is having an even more profound influence on the way that teachers and students are operating every day in the classroom. I spent a large portion of my day for the last couple of days at the middle school, and there are several things that are very obvious about the different type of school that is found now at Oceanside Middle School. First of all, the garbage cans are nearly empty. I mean, it's not why we went to iPads, right? It's not the reason why we did it. It's just really interesting to see. And it's very neat as a result. And I will tell you that the work that our teachers and our students have done and our leaders have done at the middle level, including a number of people who are in the room here tonight, our Director of Administrative Technology, David Wayne, Dr. David Wayne, Suzanne Dwyer, who doesn't get a title because she just does too many things to describe, but she's just terrific as well, and all the staff that makes the technology come to life on a day-to-day basis. It truly is transforming education. In fact, I'm almost convinced that this is the last time we can have a program such as this tonight, because it's talking about how technology is changing education. And I just don't know if we're able to say anymore that you can really separate the educational technology from the educational program as well. And the iPad happens to be perhaps a more extreme example of how technology is used on a daily basis, every period, and so consistently. But as you go through the program tonight and you see what our teachers have to share with you tonight, you will see what you probably already know. Our technology program goes beyond the middle school. It starts well before the middle school, and it goes well beyond the middle school. And our talented teachers are making use of that technology on a daily basis. So this is how tonight is going to work. First, we're going to start with a very brief but very engaging introduction by the Assistant Superintendent. How am I doing? All right? Okay, very good. Yeah, that was so sad. Yes, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. Then we're going to go basically in stations. We're going to go into 3 workshops tonight. We're going to start one portion of this entire group will start in one room, the next group will start in another room, the next group will start in the next room, and we will rotate every 20 minutes. This way, the presentations aren't so long, plus we'll be respectful of the time, and we'll have you out of here in a respectful time, but you'll be able to get a sense of the type of technology that we're using in Oceanside. To begin with, one of the presentations will take place in the Oceanside Library, and that'll be done by Mr. Jason Manning and Mr. Ed Reisner, both social studies teachers. Mr. Manning is a teacher at Oceanside High School. Mr. Reisner is a teacher at Oceanside Middle School. We thought it was kind of interesting and important to partner our presenters from different schools. We think that helps to portray the idea that this is a fluid growth of technology and use of technology through the districts. So one group will go with Mr. Manning and Mr. Reisner. They will in fact walk you up, because we're actually afraid of losing people tonight if you don't know where the library is here, and we don't want to be responsible. Another example of partnering people up from different levels, and perhaps a little bit wider of a spread there, is Ms. Kristen Stea, a wonderful teacher from school number 5, one of our elementary schools, whose principal is sitting in the back and applauding as we speak. And we also have Ms. Danielle Block, who is a science teacher at Oceanside High School as well. and they'll present together about some of the common technology tools that they use in a 4th grade class and in a high school science class. We think that says something very important about our technology use. That is, that we have a very consistent application. And then thirdly, we have a presentation by Mr. David Noodleman, who is one of our middle school science teachers, and 2 of his students, 2 experts in the use of the iPad, who will demonstrate for you how they're making use of the iPad in the middle school science classroom. So we hope that tonight's presentation provides you with an overview of the efforts that we have put into place in Oceanside, not just to buy computers, not just to buy iPads, but to help our students to access learning and understanding in a way that keeps them at the center of their learning, puts them in control of their learning. Some of the things that you'll see tonight are going to be examples of when students are especially active in making decisions about how they will learn best, because we know that we all understand how we learn better. If we like to see things, if we like to hear them, if we like to see them and hear them at the same time, or a combination of other items. And you'll see some of that tonight. Whether it be clickers, where students are being asked their opinions and being assessed for their knowledge. Whether it be online support materials like Castle Learning. Whether it be applications that we've purchased that help the iPads to function. And some of the generic applications that come with it. All of these items will help our students to become more successful. And the truth is, we know that when we go into the workplace now, the amount of paper that we see is diminishing. The amount of times that people who are real live people working in industry are utilizing computer technology to communicate, to collaborate, to develop and produce work, that is our vision. And when we get 2 Intel semifinalists in Oceanside, right? All right, that has nothing to do with the presentation. Just had to say it out loud because we're incredibly proud, right? But when we get 2 Intel semifinalists in Oceanside, it says something about how we support our students. And we are preparing them for success in the future. And we believe that that's partially what you'll see tonight. So, without further ado, I'm going to ask, the way you sat is actually not terrible here in terms of breaking everybody up. I think, Mr. P.A.S.S.
Before you let them all go, please.
What do we have to remind them?
Everybody should fill out their evaluation forms, give them back to the people in their rooms, on the last room they're in, who will get them back to us. If for some reason you don't have a pen, can't fill it out, you can always email it to us.
Very good. Very important. Now, I want to thank Mr. Pikowski, as well as Ms. Cavell, our chair people of the P.A.S.S. committee that works as a group to create programs such as tonight's program. It is a committee that is made up of parents and myself and other educators to help us to make decisions about programs that most interest you. The most important question on that survey sheet that we ask you is, what suggestions do you have for other presentations? I want you to know that as a committee, we review every survey that we get back, and we consider all of your ideas very seriously. Okay? So what I'm going to do at this time is, actually this group is a little bit bigger over here, isn't it? So, I'm thinking. Okay. Sir, do you have an idea? I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
All right, so what I'd like to do is ask this group, right here in this section, could I ask you to follow Miss Dwyer, who's raising her hand now and waving it, right? And she's smiling as well. Look at that smile. She's been working for the last 2 hours to make sure the technology was set up. Would you follow her to Mr. Noodleman's section? And you're going to be Mr. Noodleman's group. The section in the center, I'm going to ask you to be accompanied by Miss Stan and Miss Block, and they'll walk you up to a classroom just outside the library itself. Okay? No, take everything with you. This is a one-way ticket, and it was very nice seeing you. I'll see you up at the room. Thank you.
Attention, please have a seat. I want to welcome you all to this 20-minute segment of the P.A.S.S. program. Today we're going to be working with the iPad. I teach science. My name is Dave Noodleman in the middle school. With me today are 2 of my students. Introduce yourself.
I'm Alexandria.
Okay.
And I'm Leah Vega.
Okay, both of them are my 7th grade class, into 7th grade. Actually, both of them have been very helpful when I'm going through some issues with the iPads. They seem to know more than I do, which is always a good thing, because as you know, the kids know a lot more about these iPads than we do. However, I'm getting really good with it, so we've been adding a lot of different techniques to the classroom. Today we're going to be actually showing you how we use them in the lab experiments. And the two of the people here will be actually conducting the experiment and we'll be videoing at the same time. So we'll show you that in a little bit. First off, I just wanted to let you know that this school is totally wired up for iPads. The entire school is running with iPads. What we found is that it's very easy for the kids to get into class. They don't have to go to their lockers very much because there's nothing in their lockers really except their iPad gloves, notebooks. And it gives them the opportunity to have information quickly. So if they can't spell a word, they pop up the dictionary app, which is Merriam-Webster's Dictionary, which probably all of you remember when we were kids in school. So they're able to pop that up real quick and get the information they need. On the internet, 123, they go to the site, they need the information, they pull it, they bring it down. So it's very worthwhile for them. There are glitches, as you know, with all computer systems, and we have them here and there. So it's not a perfect situation, but it works about 95% of the time. So that 5%, you deal with it, as with everyone else does. Okay, so there are 3 main apps that we use, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull the screen up. Here we have Apple TV. Apple TV is how we project the screen. Now the students do too. So I'm actually not going to be up here while I do this. I'm going to get closer to this camera, and my face is probably going to get much larger, and you're going to see my eyes. And I'm going to be back here. So here's the best part of the whole thing. I teach running around the room all the time. But now we can teach from the back of the room, and we can still project on the screen. So I'm going to actually do that right now. And I think we're going to get a number. Everyone scream the number out. 695. Now it feels just like class. Because the kids, for some reason, everyone yells these numbers out. Okay, so I think I should be coming up soon. There we go. Do you see something up there? Yeah, now you see a timer, right? This is what I have. If you look back here, this is what I have on mine too. So what I'm able to do is what I want the kids to know is up there, but I can watch while they're doing it to keep an eye that they're on track. Because, the moment you have a computer and there's games available, boom. But the kids are good. They don't do that. So we have, we are able to also monitor that, but they've been really good with it, so we're in good shape. So what I want to do is bring this down. All right, and I like purple. So, which is quite neat. I just wanted to bring something else up. We have an iTranslator that we use too. The iTranslator is for students who don't speak English, who come in and either speak Spanish or French or whatever the language, and we were able to communicate with them very easily now. So that makes them feel much better at home. But I thought that was kind of a neat app that we have. But the apps that we're going to be using and that we actually work on are 3. Liam, can you point to the smiley face Edmodo, please? Right. So the Edmodo app itself is for information, and I'm going to bring mine up. Okay, you'll see that it's almost like Facebook, but it's Facebook for my class. And I'm using them as for homework and for extra help and for information that the kids need. So if they're at home and they can't figure it out, all they have to do is look at Edmodo and the information is available for them. And the parents can monitor them that way as well. So that's one of our apps. Also, the kids ask each other questions about homework, which is also a viable source of information for them. All right, then we have the backpack. And you can see that I have some things to mark, but what I want to do is show you that everything that the kids are receiving are coming in through my files. All right, so every one of my classes has a file. And we're going to go into the intro research class. Now, in the intro research is what these 2 young people are in and have been doing it. We had something called the Burning Candle Lab, and it's in a PDF form. And we have a lab that pops right up. So all the information is always available on file. So as long as they have a Wi-Fi connection at home, they're able to access all their information. So if they forget a paper, it's available. But we don't have paper, so now they have a file. So it's actually a very good tool for them. So that's the backpack. The other one we're doing is notability. Okay, you can see I have some notes there, but I'm going to let Alexandria pull from me. I'm going to come out. So, all right, so now I'm coming out of this, and now she's going to pull from hers. And she's going to show you how she sets up her notability notebook. Instead of having loose leaf and binders, we now have notability, which is a virtual notebook. Is it coming up for you? It's the C one. It says 7HS. Do that one. Everyone say the number. Okay, so go. This is her lab, and she's going to show you her notebook. So go back into your regular notebook.
Science research or what's
Oh, it does. Just make it so it's minimized so that you can see all your subjects in the column. She's extremely organized, and what happens for her, and it's a little hard to see. I can see from back here. She's very organized, and everything is very specific. Can you make it lighter? Can you switch it out? Oh, it's the screen? No, I'm talking about switch your colors.
Oh,
Just fix the theme. Make the theme a different color. Okay, so that might be a little easier to read. But those of you who are close, you can see she's got all of her subjects on the left side. And within each subject, they have whatever the class notebook sections are. Usually we had dividers, but we don't have dividers anymore. They now have them set up in the computer. So it's a very great, it's a wonderful tool to keep things in contact. What also is good about this is that when things have to be handed in, nobody can tell me I lost their paper. Because where is it located? It's in their iPad. So if they handed it in, it should show that they sent it in. And more often than not, the ones who didn't send it in are the ones who say, "Oh, they lost my paper." I said, "Nope. Look in your notebook." And they go in there and say, "Oh, I forgot to send it." So it's a great tool. Okay, so pull out. Liam, show them, and then Liam, you can catch it and show them what you got.
No pressure here, right? A little root here.
No, they're doing very well. Well, they're the ones, they know what's going on, so it's good. So in his notability, he's very organized too, and you can see that he has segmented his notebooks by subject matter, and then each one has its own set of folders inside of that. Okay, so everyone's got a clear picture of what the notebook looks like now virtually? All right, excellent. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move into the lab. So pull out. And now we're going to actually conduct the lab. One of the things that I find, and I actually was thinking about it, and it was in their class, how can we really give the kids an opportunity to view what they did in an experiment so they can actually take step by step their procedures as to how they did it. And I used to find it difficult for a lot of the kids to remember by the time they got home. So now what they do is they take videos. And when they go home, they rewatch the video, and then they can actually see what they did right and wrong, and they do the steps. And when I'm getting back, it's much nicer. Show them what you sent in to me already. This is the candle lab that the research program has been doing. Okay, so you can see that this is the lab write-up that they sent in. It took several weeks to do it. Scroll down so they can see where we put the pictures. These are all the procedures, some observations, and then this is what happens. As you can okay, so you can see that everything they did is pictured. So that when they go back through it, they have an idea of what was lit, when it was lit, how long it stayed. And they did videos, but unfortunately, the notability of the videos don't get in there, and they can't actually view them. So we take little snapshots of what they did and do that instead. However, we're going to demonstrate it. So, are you guys ready? So we're going to, pull out, and we're going to download it. On the timer now. Okay, so we're going to let them run the lab. Get my timer up. And you can narrate. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do the timer. We're going to let them know when things stop. I'll just say the time as it goes, and it'll show up in their sound, and then we'll play it back, and I'll show you what it sounds like. Okay. Pull the sleeves up.
Yeah.
Have we practice?
Yeah.
All right, tell me when you're ready. Can you light all the candles first? You might have that. Okay, now you hold it that way. Doing great. That's what we've done so far today. Yeah, okay, hold that. Okay, so now, are you ready? I'm going to start. You're going to do one at a time. I'll tell you the time when to start. We're going to stop. Mark, it's like you do. Okay, Mary.
Oh, it's a candle needs oxygen to burn. So, and right now there's no oxygen, so the candle should go out.
Well, depending on the size of the beaker. The goal was to see if the beaker size made a difference on the amount of oxygen available for it to burn.
And I'm just holding my hand right here because I don't want the oxygen to go.
There's more oxygen in the beaker, so it's staying up longer.
Start.
So,
Getting there.
I'm done.
51 seconds. Okay, so we have that. Okay, now let's try the next one. And let's start again. Okay, so you're still videoing? Okay. So on your mark, get set, begin. So as you can see, they're able to videotape the entire procedure. And the timing, even my voice and things that I say, and also other people. So everyone has to be very mindful of what they say as they're going through. So I always remind you kids.
I'm done.
20 seconds. Okay, so let's reset it. Mark, reset, go. Five, 6 seconds. Okay, so we did that. Are you done video? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Will the other one now, please? Okay, so pull the screen, and then you're going to play the video for everybody. So now we're going to see what it sounds like and it looks like, and you'll actually see the lab being redone again, which is a good way to reinforce it to the students. 84 minutes. Oh, that's good. The volume should work, so we have it set up, yeah. It goes, yeah. Tell me when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Can you light all the candles first? And if you need my help, let me know. Okay, that'll be hold it that way. It doesn't do that by us. In this school it does because it's not wired the same way. Doing great. That's what we've done so far today. Okay, blow it out. Okay, so now are you ready? I'm going to start. You're going to do one at a time. I'll tell you the time. So we'll stop the bar. See,
Oh,
this is a
it's-
bird's eye view.
the
You
candle
don't
needs
normally
oxygen
see
to
what
burn.
spots in the lab.
So,
you're
and
really
right now
looking
it's
at it.
no oxygen, so the candle should go out.
Depending on the size of the beaker. The goal was to see if the beaker size made a difference on the amount of oxygen available for it to burn.
And I'm just holding my hand right here because I don't want like the oxygen to go in.
In all the narration you're hearing, the kids are
There's
going to
more
have to
oxygen in the
remember
speaker, so it's staying up
trigger
longer.
little things. Starting. Remember that's a condensation happening.
Still up
Getting
there.
there. On the inside versus on the outside.
And done.
51 seconds. Okay, so we have that. Okay, now let's try the next one.
Put that
Start
one.
again.
This is a small beaker.
Okay, so you're still videoing? Okay. So on your mark, get set, begin. So as you can see, they're able to videotape the entire procedure. And the timing, even my voice and things that I say, and also other people. So everyone has to be very mindful of what they say. Although there were a couple of errors that happened while this was going on, but hashtag had to rewrite the video several times. Okay. So that helps students when they ask any type of errors, they don't remember what the error was. It's a blink or a moment.
When you timed it,
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that moment, yeah. Set, done. That's an excellent question. That's the solve of this also. 5, 6 seconds. Okay, so we did that. Are you done, Biddy? Okay, so one of the questions is, what happens if there's a group of students working together and one's absent for that part of it? The group makes a decision when the person's out as to what the person's out is going to actually do when they come back. But they will send the video to them. You know, used to have AirDrop, but because some kids misused it, they took it away. But on occasion, I open it up so they can just do a quick movement of material when you want to do that. I've done it with them also with videos. But there are ways they can email it to other students. They have FaceTime. A lot of the kids FaceTime when they're doing projects and they can't get to each other's houses. So they're FaceTiming while one does one part and one does the other, and then they put it together when they come into school. So it gives them that opportunity. So this actually is easier for the students, especially with the parents all being busy and working and not having time to get the kids back and forth. It's a very easy way for them to work together and still you don't have to worry about it. So I think that's wonderful. Let's see. So we finish product, we do all that. We have like 2 minutes. 2 more minutes or no? 2 more minutes? Okay. Okay, questions?
when
Absolutely.
you timed the first one, it's 51 seconds, and then you reset the timer, do you have to record that information manually, or was it saved in there?
Did you hear it?
No.
Did you hear what I said, 51? Yeah.
You said it, but
Yes, because
that's
it's hard for them to write everything.
Oh, okay.
So what they're doing is I tell them don't write
I
anything.
see, okay.
Just talk out loud and narrate while you're doing it, and then when you review it, they put their earbuds in and they listen to it and they start writing as quickly as they can, and then they go back over it until it works. Tell them what you did. Go ahead.
Well, for the timer, you can also press laugh, and then it saves it on the bottom. So you can, no.
I didn't know that part. But I just learned something new. I'm learning all the time, which is great.
Now, is this for all subjects, just for science?
It's all the subjects use it. Okay. Every teacher does different things depending on the curriculum. Like English curriculum is a little difficult because they just have to write. So they do more. They use this for reading and other activities. Yeah. Well, not only mine, but for ELA's math, they have the program that they're using. Sometimes they use other programs. But again, they're still using the paper because math in some ways you need to do that. And then in social studies, the social studies teachers are using it every which way you could possibly think. When you go into the other room, there's a social studies teacher in there, and he'll show you what he's doing with it. So there's a lot of different ways to use it. And for whatever reason, this fascinates me. So I'm constantly doing something. I actually did something. Was it you who gave me the timeline? I don't remember if you or Matt. It was you? Liam. Liam used a timeline app that I thought was pretty good. Let me show you something. I guess you'll do this one.
Sometimes it's just
What happened?
Doesn't it take more time than doing the actual
This is not available. I learned, to be honest with you, the first month was like, it took so much to figure it out. But now that I know what glitches that happened, I'll just put this down and continue teaching. And then I'll come back to it while the kids are doing something, and then I'll continue on. But it's a learning curve.
I'm still on that one.
Oh, you're still on?
Yes, I just turned on.
Turn myself, okay. Sometimes that happens, the glitches go on. All right, so it's set now? Okay, so we're going, this unfortunately sometimes it glitches, and this is what happened. So I'm going to bring this down and continue on to do. So what happens with the kids, they're able to use this iPad for many different ways. I use it continuously all period long. I don't have any more garbage on my floor. I don't have pencils and pens broken and all over the place. The kids don't have to go outside the room to their lockers all the time to get pens, pencils, paper, their homework, or anything. And the first few weeks, a lot of them were going, well, I need to go in my locker to get my, and then they would stop because they realized it's all in front of them. And again, like I said earlier, a learning curve, the first 4 weeks for everybody, teachers and students, was a big learning curve. Once everyone figured out how it was going to work and they got practiced in it, they continued on. One of the programs I was telling you about is a timeline. The timeline is great because it was only supposed to be used for doing historical timelines. I actually went and thought about it and said, you know what, we can use it for review and for study guides. So the kids are putting their vocabulary on there, they're putting some facts on there with a little bit of detail, keywords to help them remember it, and then more details to go back and double check your information. And then now they have it all condensed in these little files, and they can just keep flipping back and forth through everything. So it's really definitely a great tool. We have one more time ever done.
I think we're just about done.
Just about done. So I want to thank you all very much for joining me for this version.
Okay, welcome to Using Technology in the Classroom. Here we're going to talk about clickers and castle learning. I'm Kristen Stay. I teach 4th grade at school number 5.
And I'm Danielle Block, and I teach chemistry here at the high school. Did everyone take a clicker on your way in?
And make sure your clicker's on. You want to push the power button. You should see a screen. Let us know. Right here. Yep. Participate anonymously. All these clickers are anonymous. In the beginning of the school, every child has a number, and they know that the number on their clicker is their number. So if they're number 8 in the classroom, they always take clicker number 8. And all data that's collected goes under their number, so their name is never used. The children don't know what each other is for their answers. It's like a game approach that students engage more than traditional classroom discussion. Clickers are a great way to review. They provide feedback to the student and the teacher, and after every lesson, data is collected. You can see it in the form of a bar graph, a printout. In elementary schools, a lot of times they print it out and send the results home. In the high schools, the children come up to the computer and they can look for their number and they can see what their score was.
This is a lesson that Kristen recently did, so it's just one question that her students answered with the clickers, so you can see how the kids use it, and then we're going to have you try it out also with the clickers that you are holding right now. Just turn the speaker on here.
It has the longest photo period.
It's a very interactive way. It's very like informal.
Ready? 9. I got it. You got it? Yeah. Oh, wait. Yes. Winter. What do we know about winter? Winter is the shortest photo period. It's the least amount of daylight in winter.
All right, when the questions come up, it's on the screen. This one in particular has 4 choices, multiple choice, and they choose the correct answer. Now you can see the correct answer has a check mark. 22 students got it right. You can change the font, you can change the size, you can change the amount of choices, you can make it a true and false question, you can make it a yes and no question, you can make it a fill in a number question. It depends on what kind of lesson you're doing. This is just what it looks like to the students.
So you can see why Kristen's students all cheered.
But they're all got it.
All 22 got it right. So that was the excitement.
These are just a couple of responses how students feel. We just very informally ask them. Every time they see the clickers come out, they're very excited. It's very interactive. It's no textbook. It's just it's different.
I like clickers because it's a great way to review. I like the clickers because it's a great way to do an assessment. I like clickers because you can change your answers if you make a mistake or anything. I like the clickers because it's in the test for the next day. It helps me study for the test, so I can get a decent grade on it.
I like how you said decent grade. Decent grade.
Use that high vocabulary.
I like clickers because it's fun to review your things on the big smartboard. I really enjoy the clickers because it kind of has an aspect of it that really grabs my attention because it looks like something that could really grab kids' attention, and it's just really cool.
Every answer is like that, you do. Very little last one.
So we're gonna let you guys try to use the clickers here. So make sure, like Kristen mentioned before, the power's on, the power button on the bottom.
You can change your answer, like one of the students said. If you pick a choice that you don't like, you'll see there's going to be a light blue square. When you make a choice, it will turn to dark blue. So if you say, oh, that's not what I wanted, just click your new choice and press send again, and it changes quickly to yellow. So we know that you
click or
So-
you just kind of click?
Yeah, they're
Fourth graders are like,
They're
yeah,
radio.
she said she didn't have to, but we're all like this.
So they operate by radio frequency, so you don't have to point anywhere, you can just hold it. So if you look at the top of your clicker, you have a number, and lunch.
Wait, is this used in elementary school too?
Yeah.
Certain teachers, yeah.
Here, you have a number on your clicker. That's the number that's been assigned to you. So here's question 1. We started off with an easy one. So if you look down here, here's all the clicker numbers from 1 to 32. They start out light blue. When you answer, so you're going to pick a choice A through F and hit send on the bottom. And when you pick that choice, you'll see that your number will change to
13 or
dark
11.
blue. And that's how you know that we got your answer. We don't know what you picked, but you know that your answer has been received.
You
Okay,
can change it if you want. And if you change it, your number will turn yellow.
so try to send your answer in. We'll wait another few seconds for everyone to try, and then we'll see the results. So press A, B, C, D, E, or F, and then don't forget to hit send.
You should hit send. It's on the bottom.
And there's 2 ways that we can stop accepting answers. One way is for the teacher to decide that enough time has passed, that we'll just hit the end button. The other way is to let the timer run out. So we're going to give you 10 more seconds. Don't let the timer count down. When the time runs out, that's it. It won't take any more answers. So you have 6 more seconds. You're going to send an answer. All right. So we'll see. So if you look now on the right-hand side, no one likes science. Last class, they were sucking up to me last class. Science was the most. But no one in here. Everybody in here likes history. But you can see that we have a count of how many students picked each answer, and no one knows what you put. As a teacher, we can later look at a report, and we can see which students picked which answer, but no one in the class gets to see that. The only way anyone knows what you put is if everyone put the same answer. Otherwise, no one knows what you put. So that was a survey question. Now we're going to let you try with the right answer. I'm glad that you all picked, no one picked science, because now I'm going to torture you. And here's a science question. So, it's okay if you don't know this, but we just wanted to give you an example of what a question with the right answer would look like.
What is the symbol for the element of hope?
And the timer is counting down, so you have 22 more seconds to get an answer. We won't.
And then send.
Is anyone's clicker number not dark blue?
Like a remote control.
Everyone's is working?
Someone who's 18.
Is anyone 18, 27, 29, 30,
No.
31, 32?
Right here is 27, 30, and 31. Those are not working.
Okay. So, and you guys did better.
And the answers actually up there.
So, all right. So once again, you can see 1 person picked this, 3 picked this answer, 10 here, and 12 here. And we can see the check mark. This was the right answer. So 12 of you, good job. But for everybody else, you don't have to feel bad about your wrong answer because no one knows it except for you.
And this
So
would be a
that's a
teachable
nice
moment. The teacher would stop, discuss the different choices, review the periodic table.
If this happened in my class, this would be a question where I would assign more review on this. Because obviously, as a class, we're not doing so well. Okay. Here's one more practice question. I'm not So here's one more practice question, just so you can see another way we can use the clickers. If you noticed before, your choices when you typed the button, you only got A through F. Now, if you start typing, you'll notice numbers show up on your screen. So you can type in the answer to this question. We gave you an easy math one. Type in your answer, and when you're finished, hit send. So we have a lot more possibilities here with answers that we solicit from the students. We can get multiple choice, we can get true false, we can get yes no, we can get numerical answers. We have a lot of options here for questions that we can ask.
Program all this.
So, yes. The program does have pre-made questions. So, for example, I have chemistry. They have I don't know how many years, but maybe 10 years of old Regents questions that I can use and just pick out which ones I want and put them in a lesson. You can also make your own. So obviously this is one that I made up on my own.
For the most part, elementary, we
Pretty
make
simple to do.
Say that again?
Elementary, a lot of times we just type them up.
So there's no bank?
Well, they
There
use-
are, but it depends on what you're looking at. Say I want to review Native Americans. I just make up my own choices. But there are banks for
and they
like
do
language
save
arts.
as well.
You
So
can save
I
them from year to year.
made up a bunch of these 5, 6, 7 years ago, and they're still there. I still reuse the same questions because the content doesn't change really. So you do it once and it's there, and you can share with other teachers. So if you wanted to divvy up, I do one unit, you do the next one, we share it all. It is simple. All right, so we have everyone. Let's see. So the right answer is 25, 24 people got it right. That's nice. But just because this one doesn't have choices, it can't show you how many people picked each thing because there aren't choices. There could literally be an infinite number of possible answers. So if we click this little chart button here, it'll actually show us a bar graph of the responses. So 24 people got the right answer of 25, and this is great as a teacher because we can see this and say, all right, 225, that's probably a student who hit the extra 2 in the beginning by accident. And same thing here, 255, someone who hit an extra 5 at the end, probably by accident. I would look at this and say, probably all the students really know this and they just maybe had some technology issues. But this is obviously something we don't need to review, and I'm not going to waste class time going over it because we all know it already. So it's a really great tool too. If I were to ask this question and I get to call on one student for them to say the answer is 25, I have no idea what the other 25 students think. But now I know what every student thinks, all at once, for every question. So it really does increase the engagement. It's a really great tool. And in the high school, I use this instead of Scantron. So the students take all their tests on the clickers instead of on Scantrons. They love it because when they're finished with their test, they get to hand it in, come to the computer screen, and I show them their grade immediately. They don't have to wait till the next day to find out and be anxious about how they did. It's that immediate feedback, so they really love it.
So if you got like a split where a bunch of kids got it wrong, can you bookmark it so that you can go back and look at it?
There's not a way to bookmark it, but there's a way you can pick up the report, so it'll bank for you how many kids got each question right,
Type of question
and you can look that up later to figure out what you wanted to spend more time on. I don't know that we'll have time at the end, because I think we're running pretty tight on time, but there is a report function. I'll show you really quickly what that looks like. So here, there's a report tab, and you can click on report and get.
And they give you all options. You want item analysis, you want one student, you want the whole class, and you can do it however you want.
Can you point to the icon on the desktop?
CPS.
It is, I just want, I
Yes,
can
so right
It is
there.
this.
And it comes in the bag like this.
All right, so I think we have probably about 5 more minutes. We're going to really, really briefly talk about Castle Learning. So Castle Learning, our district subscribes to. Every student and every teacher in the district have a login for this. So they can use it on any computer anywhere, including iPhones. A lot of my students do their homework on their phone. The student site looks kind of like this, and we'll show it to you in a second with some practice questions. The students can click the teacher's name and do assignments that were assigned to them by the teacher,
You can do it at home,
Or-
you can do it in class.
or they can click down here and they can actually make their own assignments, which Kristen will tell you she doesn't use in the elementary school. She only
I assign
assigns.
specific topic and, elementary science, and I'll give them a specific topic, whether it be earth science or water, whatever it is. And they only have to answer those questions.
Yeah, and in high school I do a mix of the two things. So some I assign to them specific questions, and some I say, go home and make your own review. For example, on the periodic table, we have a test tomorrow. Click on chemistry and make a review just on the periodic table. And the students will, some of them will make a 50-question review and do all 50 questions. If I assign them a 50-question review, they wouldn't touch it. But if I say, go make your own, some of them will do it. So it's nice what that independence does for them, which is one of our benefits we have here. So first benefit versus textbook or worksheet homework, the students get the immediate feedback, like I mentioned before, and we'll show it to you in a second. They get the reason for the right answer, whether they answer the question right or wrong. So if they were working in a textbook, they don't know if the answer is right until the next day when they go back to school and ask the teacher. On Castle Learning, the right answer pops up immediately with the reason. It also gives them a hint if they answer incorrectly.
It gives them vocabulary words, it gives them a picture clue, and the questions are all read to them. So if you have elementary students and you're struggling readers, they can just click the listen button, they can hear every question, they can put headphones on in the computer lab, and they can listen to every question, and the choices.
And like I mentioned, the independence. So the students will do so much more work, it's incredible, just because they have the choice to do the review and to pick their question. So we'll show you an example of how that works up here too. So this is what the site looks like for the students. They click on the teacher name. I'm going to show you one assignment first, and then we'll do one at Kristen's.
And every student has a log on it in Oceanside.
So here's my login assignment. This is actually the assignment I give all my students. First homework of the year is this. It's one question with one answer, so they have to get it right. I don't have to listen to excuses all year. I forgot my password. I don't know how to log in. It doesn't work on my computer. This is the one question. They get first one. Were you able to log in and answer this question?
And it can read it.
Wait.
Are you able to log in and answer this question? 1, yes.
So like Kristen mentioned, they can play it if they want to listen to it and not read it to themselves. They click their answer, they click accept, and since this is the only question, they got it right, they get fireworks. You would be surprised how many high school students come in the next day and they're so excited they got fireworks. This block, I got fireworks on the homework last night. It's amazing. So they only get that if they get 100. And it's funny, even 16, 17-year-olds are excited by the firework graphic for the perfect score. So that's one example, and we just want to show you one more with an actual question with the right answer, and then we'll take questions at the end. Here's one that Kristen uses in elementary.
They can read it or they can do it.
Winter. This deer's coat is much different from the lighter coat that it has in the summer. This is an example of 1. Nutrition, 2. Adaptation, 3. Reproduction, 4. The food chain.
So just so we can see that hint and what happens if they get the question wrong, let's pick a wrong one. So if we pick number 1, it'll tell you, your answer is incorrect, please try again. Here's vocabulary links that they can click on. Here is the question again, so they can try again.
They can try it.
And so let's get this one right this time. So this is, oh, see, I was going to make Mrs. Day say it, but you guys all. It's good. I like the participation. So now it tells you, okay, your answer's correct, but not only is your answer correct, look at the bottom. Here's the reason why your answer's correct. So if you guessed and just got lucky, but you don't really know, now at least it's here for the students to review. This is why that answer's correct. Okay? So it's really nice. They get the hint, they get the reason, and then
And over here, you can see the first few we got wrong on the first try, but then after we went back, check the second try. You get it right away, you get a check immediately.
And we really do know elementary science. We were just trying to demonstrate what the site can do, so that explains all the answers.
And the students get excited. There's 21 questions, they have 22, and they're all right so far, and they want those fireworks. You know, you can see them really focusing, they want that little black strip.
I can say since using this site, the amount of students doing their homework has skyrocketed because it's really easy for the parents to check. I mean, you look at the homepage and you just look over your student's shoulder and you can say, oh, Ms. Block's class, you have 2 incomplete assignments, why aren't you doing your homework? So it's a really easy way for parents to see that homework is or is not getting done. And, you know, it's a reminder for the students. Every time they log in, they have to see that. So they don't want to see that. You know, they can ignore their textbook homework and it doesn't flash in their face anywhere that, hey, you didn't do your homework. So they're doing a lot more. They also know that the computer grades this automatically, so it's a homework I definitely check because it's easy for me. I don't have to do anything. The computer grades it and just tells me, here's how all the students did. So they know I'm going to check this homework. They don't take the chance that maybe I don't check homework that day. So they do this more, and they're getting more practice at home.
In elementary school, it takes about almost a full period to teach them how to log on, plug in their code, and show them where everything is set up. So by the time they learn this, say, in 4th grade, by the time they get to high school, they know how to log on, and the code stays with them their whole time.
What is there available for the elementary teachers that's already made on Castle Learning?
You just pick from random questions. So say what subject, what grade
You
you
go
teach?
to a subject.
Yeah, so say this was science. I went to
and it will
fourth.
go by
So-
grade
Yeah, I went to
level.
elementary
Yeah,
science,
I mean-
water, and you pick the questions you like.
This is
You can do random questions and they can pick them for you. I just like to go through and see which ones, but you can do it for you.
I'll show you just really quick what Teacher Center looks like. So that's what the student page looks like. Here's what the teacher page looks like. So, I mean, here's a list of all of my second quarter assignments.
She has a lot more than elementary.
Yeah.
And I
But you
teach
can
every
see-
subject, so I can't
I mean-
break it down.
You know, you can see how many students are doing it, which is nice. I can
But
tell you that's a
I'm
lot
sorry,
higher.
that's yours.
That's
But
mine.
what about
Just
what is
sort of-
available?
Right
to
here,
be
you go
No, I
here.
understand, I understand. I was just showing you one other thing first. But so if you want to create an assignment, all you do is just type in here a name. Oh, actually, of course, hold on. So So let's do
It's
a,
the elementary American site, that's where I got Native Americans from. Like I did all these Native American questions.
all right, so
Fourth grade.
let's do that. Example, create new assignment. Now, it might just take a second, but we pick multiple choice.
I always pick multiple choice. I don't, like typing it in for them is hard, so we just do this.
And it gives you a list of topics, so you pick anything you want. Let's just do
Yeah,
all
Native
of,
Americans.
let's just do all the First Americans, and then pick show me questions. Now, here's a whole list of questions that will show up on the screen, and you just check any that you want to include in your lesson.
You
So
can include
here's,
them all if you want them all.
yeah, I mean,
There's a lot.
I'm just scrolling through the whole list.
And they level them. Stuff. There's levels. Some of them are leveled harder, harder ones than easier ones.
I don't love going by their classification, because sometimes I
Right.
think what they think is hard, I think is an easy question, and what they think is easy, I think is really difficult, and I would never include it.
Right.
But there's a lot available to you, and you can also make your own.
There's graphic sources. It's not just writing. It's not just reading. So
That's it.
I think it's so cute. But this is for fourth grade. This is exciting. Is there a cartoon?
Any other questions? So I think we're probably have about a minute or two left.
One question about the clicker, when you said you give you a test on there,
Yeah.
so they're all doing it at the same time, they're looking
No,
at
so
the
it's a
same
little
time.
different. So, sorry, I didn't mention that. But the way it works is they're using it for a test. They all still get the test copy, the hard copy. And then on the screen, it'll say Q1, Q2, and so on. So the student knows what question they're up to. Everyone in the room can be on a different question at the same time. And they type their answer in their own page. Yeah, so that's how it works for a test. It's not, the projector
You
is
just keep it on. You just click them in like this. I don't know if I'd use it for fourth grade because I feel they would make, I'd make sure they did a hard copy first. Because they're so well, I do it for a review. I always use it as a review, and I print it out for the parents, and the parents can see which questions they got wrong.
Well, Mrs. Dwyer is not at our door yet, so since you're asking, I'll show you a report of what you guys just did.
We can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Oh, she's showing you a report.
No, but keep
So-
on talking. That's still here.
Sorry. Since we were asked about the report, just so you can see a sample report. So here's the clickers from 1 to 32. A lot of stuff we don't need here. But so question 1, it says what everyone put. Okay, so you were students in our class, you would have been assigned a number. So we know student 1 is Johnny, and he picked C. For question 2, there was a right answer, it was D. It shows you plus sign means that the answer was correct, and if they got it incorrect, it tells you what choice the student picked. So you literally have an item analysis on one page for the whole class for every question, which is a really nice thing. This one also, 25 is the right answer. Here's all the right responses with plus signs, and here's the incorrect ones with what the student put.
And this is the column students want to say. This is their grade. So you can pull them over really quickly.
So it's a nice way of, I mean, you literally have every student's answered every question on one sheet of paper instead of 26 tantrums or 26 test booklets.
How did they do?
Thank you.
Great job, brother. There are two teachers waiting for you right now.
So just to kind of talk you through how the kids are using the iPad, kind of the language that we're using, and how it's going to translate to the high school.
My name is Jason Manning. I teach here at the high school and teach 9th grade and 12th grade social studies. My students do not have the iPad yet. They will be coming up, but I currently have an iPad, and I'm part of that group of teachers that are training how to use it. So I'm going down to the middle school, observing Mr. Risen's classes, and also observing what the students are doing. Having the iPad in my hands now is helping me familiarize myself with what I'm going to be doing next year, and I'm excited to have the kids coming up, because as I found and some of the stuff you're going to see, what the kids are doing is unbelievable, what they're able to produce and what they're able to do. And it's really an exciting time to be teaching.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do is just kind of like take you through, if the kids came into class, what it would look like. And you'll first notice that my screen, which is right here, is also up here, and I'm not connected to any wires. So this is something that Apple TV allows us to do, and it's a totally wireless system which shows you what is on my screen. So I could be anywhere in the vicinity of this room, and my screen will be up there. And it allows me to kind of, I can show you things, I can go through things while I'm controlling it here. Instead of having to be with the smart board, I would have to be up here kind of touching things. I can be anywhere in the room, and I can be moving things around. It also allows me to have students show their work. The student can be the exemplar. So Ms. Salzberg back there, who's a superstar for the day, and I want her to show her work for the class, I can mirror out, and Ms. Salzberg can then pick up the Apple TV. That's like the lingo that we use, like pick up the Apple TV. And she'll, her screen will then mirror there. Sound and everything. So when the kids show their iMovies, we have them create iMovies, their sound wirelessly would come through the speakers. So the environments that we're in, it's happening out of the high school environment, but the middle school, every classroom has an Apple TV where the kids are able to, where the teachers are able to use the Apple TV wirelessly, and the kids are also able to use it. That's pretty cool. All right. The light would be great now. So the first thing we're going to show you on the actual iPad is the online classroom. And when a kid comes into my room, the first thing that they always do is open up a program called Edmodo. And what Edmodo is an online class where each of the students joins groups. And the group think of as a classroom. So whatever class you have on your schedule, you would join that teacher's group. So if you had Mr. Reisner, you would join my group. If you had Mr. Manning, you would join his group. So a student would have in the middle school, they would have 8 groups per quarter. And in those groups, I can then control what's going on. Everybody sees what I post. The kids can post to each other. They can kind of message each other on here while it's still monitored by me. This is where I kind of tell them what we're doing for the day, so my aim today, my did you know for the day. And it's also where the distribution of materials happens. I'm no longer handing out papers. I upload a PDF. And you'll see that I uploaded a PDF yesterday morning, which was called Progressive Error Review Sheet. And that's how the kids get their work from me. That's how they would get their worksheets from me. And what they would do is just click on it. And once it's clicked on, it brings them to this screen where they have an option of where they want to put it. And whenever you would, if I were to hand you a paper right now, if you were a student, where would you put it?
Folder.
In a folder or a binder. That's the same thing they're doing now, except it's an app. But the app is every binder that they own, or would have owned, or every folder they would have owned, put in one place. So I would say I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to put it in Notability. And take every subject they have, right? Every single class that they take, especially for a high school student, that could be in the teens for the number of classes that they have, right? And that sheet, that PDF, is going to be filed somewhere. Think of this on this side right here as their different binders. So for me, I teach social studies only, so each of my binders is a unit that we teach. For a student, it would say social studies, science, math, ELA, Spanish, whatever classes that they're taking. And within that, their PDFs are filed based on where they choose to put them. So if you think about all of this stuff, if you close your eyes and you thought about all of your binder material, all in one huge, tremendous binder, right? Things are flying all over the place. But this is a clean, it's organized by date. And for the kids that have trouble organizing, this is a lifesaver for them. Because it's everything within a touch of where you want it to be. Questions with that?
The students also have the ability to search anything if their binders get a little out, not organized. In the upper right-hand corner, they can simply search for any worksheet that they have, find the name of the worksheet.
Sure. And Mr. Fenzer before was talking about, we want the iPads are making learning personal for the students. Once they're in Notability, they have the ability to change, first of all, you see the color, right? Everything's in color. I can create, I create all this color for them. It's more inviting. But once it's here, it's a white piece of paper. But we want to give the kids the ability to kind of make it their own. So the option that they have is this little wrench up here. Allows them to change the paper that they have, so they can choose what color paper it is. They can choose if it has lines on it or not. If there weren't boxes here, you see on the bottom there's graph paper. So the math teachers are using graph paper here, so they can graph equations. There's thicker lines, there's thinner lines for those people, the students that need it. It's totally customizable for each individual student. And adding to that customization is the students have the ability to choose how they want to take notes. They can type, they can write, they can highlight if they wanted to, and they can even speak into it. We don't let them do that in class because that would just be a little loud. But at home, they can speak into their iPad, and it would take notes for them, which is pretty unbelievable. And pretty cool if you see it actually happen. Like you see the words at the hearing as they're saying it.
This was probably the most impressive part for me as a high school teacher, coming down and observing the 8th graders. I thought to myself that there would have to be a time where I have to deliver direct instruction and I need them to take notes. You know, I need them to have a pen and paper in hand. So I was convinced that there was going to be a time for them to do that. And what I found very impressive is that not only were the kids very quick with writing down material, but they all had their different style that they were comfortable with. Several kids had the Bluetooth keyboard and they were typing their workout. Several kids had a stylus and were just writing on their iPad. Other kids were just using their finger and writing out their words. And even there, I always said, you know, when you have a piece of paper on an iPad, anybody's held an iPad, it's not easy. The stylus doesn't work easy. It's like there's no way they can really take notes. But again, the kids were so adept with it, they were so quick. They simply hit this magnifying glass here at the bottom, and this is what Mr. Reiser's doing now. And then this little box can be moved around. So if they want to write the section or the headline or their name, the kids are literally writing on their iPad down here. And whatever's down here pops up in that little box. As high school teachers, we get a lot of forms that we have to fill out and return to administrators, whether it be for a CSE meeting, 504, student evaluation, an updated report. And now I get emails with PDF files. Please print this out, fill it out, and return it to my mailbox. I'm opening it now in Notability, filling out the progress report for the kid, and then hitting this button here and emailing it back to the administrator. Now let them print it out. I'm doing it on a notebook or in Notability, and the work is getting right back to them. And that's exactly what a kid would do. A kid would, this is the PDF that comes off of Edmodo, so Mr. Reisner would post this. The kid opens it up in their Notability, complete the work, and then from there they submit the work right back to the teacher.
And then where they would submit it, I'll just show you a little quickly, is they would send it to a program called eBackpack, which is the way that we collect work. It's organized, it's connected to your Infinite Campus, so if you're a teacher, it's connected to that, so your rosters are automatically there. You don't have to input anything, it's not any extra work for you as a teacher to do that. And they would send their work there, and it's then stored in a folder where you can access it any time. It's where you grade it, it's where you return it to them, and it's always there, so you can always refer back to it. Like I can say, you know, oh, you missed homework 3 from September 5th, and I can pull it up, I can pull the folder up, and I can even show the student, I'm like, you haven't submitted anything. And they will then have the ability to submit it, because they can go back to their Notability, which is extremely organized. They can go back to the date of September 5th, they could find the PDF, they can see that it was complete or not complete, and then they can then send it in. So it allows them to be very independent, it allows them to be very organized, and again, to be very personal and customized with how they're doing work. Question?
How did you get all your material that you had all those years into all of, I see you have so many different units, so much material.
Sure.
What was that process like to go from that paper process to getting it on there?
So it's a great question.
Not only is it a great question,
Yeah.
but you sound like every high school
Yeah.
faculty member who envisioned their last 20 years of work having to be redone. And it's a process, but because I have an iPad now, I'm helping to ease that anxiety of the high school teachers now. Well, at least for most of us have digital files anyway. Like, there's not many things that we hand write and that we need to scan. But there is an app for that. There is an app to scan something and turn it into a PDF. So most of us have digital files. And a lot of the teachers are, when am I going to have time to take a year's worth of curriculum and turn it to a PDF so I can get it on Edmodo? And this is the answer I gave them. Every year you're going to pull out your file and submit how many copies you need for that class. So when you get to Unit 1, you have a new roster of students coming in. You might have 90 new students. So you're going to take out that sheet of paper that you've got from your folder. You're going to put in, I need 90 copies. You're going to submit it, and then in your mailbox, you're going to get 90 copies that you'll distribute. Well, now you're going to do the same thing, but you're not going to put it in for copy. You're going to take that worksheet off of Unit 1. You're going to convert it to a PDF. You're going to upload it on Edmodo. and then the kids are going to work on unit 1. When you get to unit 2, instead of taking it out and putting it in for copying, you're going to take it and convert it to a PDF. So once they understood that, they don't have to convert all their files right now. They just have to convert them as they go. And then as they go, they upload them on Edmodo. I think once they realize that it's going to make their lives easier also. Now, there might be an old test that they want to do. Literally, there's an app for that. You scan the picture, it just scans it, it turns it right into a PDF. It's incredible.
And then Word documents and like PowerPoints, if you have PowerPoints, it's as easy as when you press print. Our computers, they updated our computers this year. They installed the software. It's called Qt PDF, where we can choose, instead of choosing a regular printer, you choose Qt PDF, and it saves your file as a PDF file. So it's as simple as drop and click. And if you have a digital document, it automatically becomes a PDF. And I can I'll just show you my my Dropbox account. If you see, let's do worksheets. You'll see some of them are documents, and then some of them are PDF files. And it's the same, like the documents kind of coincide, because I have a Word document of it, and then I just drop and press, and voila, I have a PDF.
And all the teachers next year who have freshmen, 8th graders coming up with their iPads, they know they have freshmen for next year, like I do. So part of what I'm doing this year is beginning to convert some of my files to PDF. I'm starting to learn the language and how to do it. So all freshman teachers of next year's 8th graders were given an iPad. They're training on an iPad right now. They're converting files to PDF. So when the kids come in September, we're ready to go. Yes?
What do you do with the kids that don't have nothing to do with the computer?
Say that again?
The kids, they don't have nothing to do with the computer.
That they don't like using computers?
Yes.
Well, those kids have an iPad already.
6th, 7th grade coming to the line.
Oh, 6th graders coming into 7th grade?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you do if they don't know what's the computer is? Never touch a computer, only writing, reading, whatever, only material, something they touch.
Yeah.
How can you help them?
So the first thing I'll say is that Apple products are made to be user-friendly. And I'll tell you, the first 2 or 3 weeks of the year, I don't know if you know how the middle school structure is, but I'm on a team of teachers, and your child will have the same 4 teachers for 7th and 8th grade. And what we did as a team was each of us took 5 apps, the basic apps that we were all going to use. And for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the year, we taught how to use the apps. So we taught, the app that I taught was Notability. So the first 2 or 3 weeks that they came into my room, we set up their Notability. We taught them how to use their Notability. And we could show them, like, you're going to press this button, and you're going to do this, and the language. And the more use you get out of it, like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So when they're doing the same things in terms of, I'm going to get a file from Edmodo, I'm going to put it in Notability, I'm going to file it in the right place. They do that 7 times a day. You keep doing that, you're going to get it. So by the end of I'm telling you, by the end of the 2nd week, my students were better at it than I was. And they were showing me, they were like, look, did you know you could do this? Did you know you could do this? Did you know that you could, make this look like this and change the backgrounds and all that? And they were unbelievable because the kids were interested in it. Whereas I was worried about making my PDFs, they were worried about how to make their paper look cool. And that's what they just by playing around with it. Technology, the more you use it, the better you're going to get at it. All right?
Thank you.
So we're just running out of time. I just want to show some examples of some of the work that kids are making. And, piggybacking off of your last question, teachers, and I've tried to tell this to any of the high school teachers that have come to see me and see my classes, we're not teaching any different. We try not, you don't have to teach differently because you have 29 students in your class with an iPad. The kids are changing how they produce work. They're changing how they're taking notes. They're changing what they're showing us, how they're learning. So I don't really teach much differently than I had. The kids are just changing how they produce work and being more creative and more engaged with how they produce work. And I just wanted to illustrate an app called Book Creator, which you see is right here, allows the students to become authors. And social studies and ELA being very connected, the idea of creating writing pieces and publishing them would never have been a philosophy of a social studies teacher 20 years ago. But now it is. So using this app, we just completed our unit on immigration. The kids had to create immigration journals where they had to create an immigrant character from the 1800s, from a European country. And they had to, document their journey through their process. And it creates a book, which then gets uploaded to my e-backpack. And when I want to look at it, it goes in my iBooks. Next to my Lincoln Team of Rivals and my Double Down and all my social studies books, there's Christina's Immigrant Journal. And if I were to click on Christina's Immigrant Journal, I can then see, if the page is flipped, and it's see that Christina Caxiopoulos, Cici. You know Cici? Yeah. Cici Mohammed. So in this app, she can then create her work. And what really the kids loved, and I love telling the story, is that with an app called PicMix, they had to put themselves in the different scenarios that they were describing and talking about. So this was, the reasons why she was leaving. So there's Cici with her family, getting ready to get on the boat to come to America. And the first time they all did this, they were all smiling in their picture. I was like, all right, everybody take a selfie, and they all got so excited. Like, when do you ever hear a teacher say that? And they're all smiling and making sure their hair is good. And then I was like, no, you're immigrants. You have nothing. You're getting on the boat to go. So then they all got their mug shots. They were all taking their selfies. But then they black and white them. They can add the effects, and they can then create immigrant journals documenting their trips through whatever they're going through. So that's one. And then a second one is not a new phenomenon, but something that's been very popular in education recently is a flipped classroom, where the students are doing their learning at home and then producing their work in class. And an app that allows me to do that a lot, and a couple of other teachers, is something called EduCreations, which is, it allows me to record my voice using pictures. I can input pictures, I can pause and stop and draw on these if I wanted to, and then save it as a file. I can send it to the kids via Edmodo, and then the kids at home can listen, that was their homework assignment, listen to my EduCreations on this topic. And then when they came into school the next day, I didn't have to really tell them anything about this topic because they had it already. They came in and they did the work. They had, their activity for that day was they had to be newspaper journalists, and they were covering the election of 1912 and discussing the fracturing of the Republican Party. And I didn't teach really at all in terms of standing up here and telling them what that was all about. They had it here, it was saved, they could rewind, they could fast forward, they could add their own pictures to it or add on to it. So I'm just going to kind of give you a little glimpse of what that would sound like. And it might be a little weird because my voice will be there, but I'm here. We'll see.
Upon leaving the White House, Roosevelt embarked on a worldwide tour, including an African safari and a journey through Europe. Taft was left to make his own mark on America with President Roosevelt in Africa. President Taft lacked the political skill of Roosevelt to keep both the progressives and the conservative wings of his party happy. Soon, he would alienate one side or the other.
So they were able to go home, watch this, and they have it. So whenever they're reviewing, whenever they need it, it's there. They can access it, and I don't have to repeat myself 95 times. They can just come in and they can create. They can do their work. They can be productive. And this app, EduCreations, really allows the students to do that, and allows me to do it. And it's great for like we were absent for a period. You can do that, and the kids are not missing anything because they're getting it. Questions? Are textbooks still used? Great question. So, social studies, I don't use a textbook in class at all. They have a textbook at home that they use sometimes for homework. They use sometimes for their own use, some research. But we've been trying to find an online textbook. A lot of the technology, believe it or not, is ahead of the companies, the textbook companies. There are textbooks that are in production for social studies where they have a 7th grade curriculum, but they don't have the 8th grade curriculum completed. So it's ongoing. So until that is resolved, until the district finds one that they're comfortable with, then they're going to use the ones that we already have. But most of the teachers that I know don't use it in class at all. I haven't had a kid open a textbook in my entire year.
It's not too long either before the textbook companies release apps with a certain number of licensing numbers that you get with the purchase of that app to replace the textbook.
But besides textbook, I'll show you one more thing. Some of the apps, like socially specific apps that we use, is like a U.S. history timeline, which basically is an entire bank of everything U.S. history in color-coded timeline. The Constitution, they can go through, they can highlight in the Constitution if we're talking about the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. And then three of my favorites, the History Channel, the Smithsonian, and P.B.S. They're with the whole movement of this stuff in education. And what they've done is they've broken down all of their plethora of materials into different categories. So you kind of said like a textbook. This is broken down: Civil War, American history, the American Revolution, ancient history, the Battle of Gettysburg. And each of these videos is about 2 to 5 minutes in length, where the kids, you can have them plug in with their earbuds and they're glued to it. Because they're high, they're engaging, they're interesting, they're quick, and it's a lot of information in a very short amount of time in snippets. And we use these a lot to kind of introduce a topic, a lot of times to review a topic. It might be a homework assignment to watch the little 2 or 5 minute clip, so you come into the next day and you're ready to go. So in terms of research and textbook stuff, this is like an online database for them to use.
Do you all, as teachers, do you all have the same apps, or do you download what you want?
Right.
Do you have to see the deal? How do you?
So, last question, because this is why I was wrapping this up. But there are certain apps, which the paid apps are given to us from the district.
At the start of the year, or do you add them as you go
It comes
along?
on your iPad.
Okay.
And as they update it, or if I were to find a great app that was a paid app, and I thought that all the other students would like it, I would have to use it first. And then if it was good enough, I could then present it to Ms. Dwyer, and then she would have to present it to whoever else to have it pushed out to all the other students. But a lot of these apps are free. So app like the History Channel app is free. So when I started using it, I told my students, download these 5 apps for social studies class. And they create a social studies folder where they keep their apps. Science, the same thing, and math, the same thing. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Manning, Mr. Reisner.